My name is Crackersaw. Welcome back to EU4, our France is already OP campaign. Alright, I'm excited to jump back into here. We left ourselves at a pretty good place where we just finished some more, so we can just jump right in and look around at what we want to do. We can get ready on Yemen here, it looks like, which is good, and go right in on him. I want to kind of split him between our two subjects there, the Mamluks and Malindi. And he's allied to Rwanda there, so we can expand Cuba. Yeah, so that's good. Cleaning up rebels in Central America, but beyond that, America's done. I want to try to eat some of these guys in here, and maybe go after Morocco. Venice is something I'd like to kill. We're integrating Portugal, and we're starting on Holland, or Holland, since Holland exists. And just keep colonizing, because why not? We'll eventually fill up this interior portion. That's something I find interesting. Do you consider a world conquest done if those interior African provinces aren't colonized? I'd be interested to know what you guys think about that. I would have to say, in a non-colonial kind of focused game like this, yeah, we don't need that, but we probably will get it anyways. Especially, I might have the rest of the world conquest done, and then once I got it to 1821, that would be done. But I don't know. We'll think about that. Not that big a deal. So Lunda will hopefully be integrated into Cuba as well. Didn't see that. Oh, is that Basogba? Yeah. So, or whatever his name is, the little guy above Rwanda. That's good. So we'll hopefully get the entirety of Central Africa done there. We don't have to worry about it anymore. We will add... We're getting to the point where once we get that, I'll say Africa is like 2/3 done. We just have Mali and Morocco. Oh, and I guess air and them between Mali and Morocco. Oh, there's always more. There's always more. It's about time for us to go against the Ottomans again, though. And then we need to attack either Bengal or Delhi. That's probably not going to be this episode, though. We're getting pretty standard 6 years. This started in 23, I think it was. 29 is probably about where as far as we'll go. And these are about an hour and a half of me playing. Which, to some people might be like, oh my god, 6 years in an hour and a half of playing. It's late game stuff, guys. I'm already not the fastest EU4 player. I take my time and kind of... I want to make it good. Oh, I'm glad I'm getting into Indonesia, though. We've needed to. And then late game, you need to make sure... You know, just a lot more to try to figure out. I'm just getting the peace deals kind of set up. Okay, I think we might just be able to separate peace Rwanda for some dip. I know I'm having a little bit of diplo problems, but who cares? I want to kill tags. I want to make sure we can kill them. Either that, maybe we just leave a teeny bit of Yemen instead of a teeny bit of Rwanda. I don't know. We'll figure it out when the time comes. We got these two wars like pretty much done. It looks like I'm waiting on them to start another one. Looking around at Bengal and Delhi to see maybe Jungarth. Who can we attack? Who can we can try Transoceania, I think. I don't know if he's actually maybe a subject of Ming or something. He doesn't want to die. Are you kidding me? Then white peace, and we'll kill you later once all your friends are dead. Cool. Make sure I have 2 guys, or at least not a month away, and then bam. Oh, it painted French Africa for us, and I'm gonna try to give all this to Cuba. So checking on things there. Some of it we do have to core. And then we do the whole give provinces away to a subject. Kind of sad that I might just go with that and just core these 3. We'll see if it's available. Let's see how much we can give to these guys. I find it kind of sad that I still think vassals, regular vassals, are superior to client states overall, just because they tend to have cores. If the vassal is just the 1 core and then you're trying to give it a massive amount, client state is better because you get the liberty desire reduction, and it's crazy that this is actually one of the biggest benefits of using a client state, because when you have a bordering client state, you can just click the little thing like you're going to create a client state, and it lets you join it to an existing client state instead. It's so much quicker. But I don't tend to use them because I still like regular subjects, because they tend to have admin or cores and claims, that kind of thing. Maybe I should use them more. Just looking around at restoring the Roman Empire, I remembered that was at one point a goal I talked about doing, and I'm probably going to get the French World Conquest and then click the Roman Empire button just for the memes. Alright, so next round of wars, let's do some Indonesian ones. I finally remembered about these guys up here that I'm going to use to kill like the tribes up there, and then maybe move on Japan, because he's relatively isolated. He tends to not want to become a Ming tributary, but not be strong enough to get onto the continent with everybody being Ming tributaries, including Manchu there. It's kind of funny. What if he's still a horde? Probably not, because the Empire is at 100. Unless he's a horde and he's just a tributary horde, so I don't know. I don't know. He's pretty big, but Empire of China seems to be healthy. 10 out of 7, and that's after getting rid of Spain. I don't know, oh no, we haven't gotten rid of Portugal. That's after getting rid of that Tarscan guy in Perm. We're getting rid of Portugal, which would be awesome. And then we get rid of Holland, and then I guess we'll start working on people in Africa. I could work on Spain. We can just keep Africa and Asia and stuff pockmarked with subjects. We will see. The good thing about integrating non-PU subjects is you can scootage them so that they can't get their... What am I trying to say? They can't get their integration interrupted. Unless they get rebels, of course, but they usually don't get their integration interrupted because of wars and stuff, because in the war. I think despite being 10 out of 7, I'm going to make another subject over here. I want to keep growing. So I'm trying to figure out why I can't get these guys on the boats, and it's because they weren't big. The boats didn't have enough capacity, and it doesn't tell you that when they're black flagged and messed up. I was clicking, nothing was happening. Then I finally figured it out. Let's see. Venice, the Ottomans, Bengal, Jungarth, Bahmas, Kandesh. I think India is the biggest nut to crack besides Ming, so we should probably focus on that. But we still need to kill the Ottomans. We still need to kill everybody, to tell you the truth. Maybe we can... I like the idea of going in on Japan after the tribes. I like the idea of possibly maybe trying to get some sort of subject in Southeast Asia. Sorry, I actually have the game up on the other. I just realized you might be able to hear that. Because what I'm doing is I'm playing the music from actual EU4, so I don't have to go find the audio files, and then what am I trying to say? You know, put actual songs in the audio tracks in the editing software. This is much simpler. Just play the music. Well, I can watch here. But I was clicking on stuff over here. Trying to see if there's anybody I could make a subject in Southeast Asia would be nice. Or I might just conquer in Southeast Asia and then release one so I don't have to worry about it. Oh, I was noticing that Jungarth might be a subject. Interesting. Interesting. I might say no to that. I want to conquer. Got so many subjects. So many subjects. We'll get it in line though. I'm confident that we can get Portugal integrated. And then Holland will fall real quick after that. And then we can, you know, worry about places like Southeast Asia. And China. China! I got so many merchants. Just put them somewhere. Put them somewhere. We make so much money. And it's not even really a trade focus. If you want to see me make crap tons of money and you can get over the bad audio. My Portugal campaign went to a world conquest and eventually formed Spain. I kind of regret that, but I did it after we finished all of Portugal's missions and we're massive as Portugal. And I just wanted the Spanish missions, to tell you the truth. But at the end of that one, I can't remember exactly, but I think we had 30 or 35 merchants or more. I can't even remember 100%, but it was a lot. And we were making a lot of money. A lot of money. I think that was one where I did the every trade company every investment in every trade company in the world. And it took me a crap ton of time to find them. Because the trade company investment flag doesn't do a good job at actually going to the place the trade company is. And it's mainly because the trade companies are weirdly shaped. And I think it sends you to the center of it, but they are, like I say, weirdly shaped, so I think we'll do something like that and then release it as one of our subjects, as a new subject. Like Kutai or Maja Pahit, or, well, it depends on who has cores on what. Man, I don't know about you guys, but this whole, like, being forced to stay home all the time, my sleep schedule, my eating schedule, they're all off. I won't get into bitching about that too much, I apologize, but oh, it's the middle of the day and I feel like I said it. Alright, so we're getting things situated. We're like getting all the peace outs. We're gonna have to go up there and siege down that one province, which kind of sucks, but fine. Yeah, just try to get all these, and I attempted at times like this to start another war, but I really need the wars to line up. And we eventually will get called for peace, and it's all a bunch of whole crock of shit. Plus, you know, these littler ones don't want to get fully annexed, which that's fine. I will convince you. I thought I had a guy over here. Oh, he's up there. Okay. I think I did that exact thing when I was actually playing, and when I was recording over it. These, like, North America is bigger than it seems. When you're starting in this kind of thing, you're looking at the eastern seaboard of what is now the U.S. You zoom out a little bit, and Canada's massive. Canada's bigger than the U.S., which you might say, duh, but if Mercator projection makes everything up there look much bigger, so I don't trust it. Like, if you put the actual size of Russia, like, Russia's massive, but they're not as massive as it shows on the Mercator projection. So, you know, instinctively my brain underestimates the size of Canada, because, like, Greenland looks like it's almost the size of Africa on the Mercator projection, and that's laughable. Greenland would fit like 6 or 7 times inside of Africa, or I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it's multiple times, and it's much smaller. But Africa looks small because of the way the Mercator projection works relative to what it actually is, and Greenland looks big. It's just an interesting way of trying to flatten a globe out to show on a map. Although some people think, that's not what they're doing. But I won't get into that kind of BS. Alright, so I'm looking around to see who we should actually get out of this. But I think I'm going to send the peace deals, get it done. Yeah, Sunda, I remember now. Sunda, and then grant him like the corner there that I'd already cored up, and then he can have the rest of Borneo that he can hold. Because I don't want to be 200% overextension. And I don't care if you are. Kind of cursed, but no worries. We'll expand him a little bit and then we'll eat him. Oh, no, he's done. I'm just checking to see if there's anything I could give him that just be a little bit more. And then over here, since I still have just a little bit extra overextension, I'll just give a little more to Spain. Gotta be under 100. That's key. 95.6. That'll do. I could have probably just given one to Spain. It's fine. It is fine. So now I save and we start over because that's probably just me doing a different. I try to cut those off, but I miss it every once in a while. My heir's dying. Oh no. Oh, okay. We got somebody else. It's not the best, but he's weak. But it actually has better points than the last guy was going to be. Plus, he's younger. But also, that means we're in danger of Regency. That would be devastating at this point. I wonder if I should kill off all heirs. I want to keep my dynasty, but if I can't keep my dynasty, I don't want to go into a full regency. Right now it would be a queen regency, but she's kind of old too. And if you just keep killing off any heir you get, when you die, you'll switch dynasties and have low legitimacy, but you will be an adult. It's always an adult that takes over, which is kind of weird. I would like a mechanic where, what I would really love is a mechanic that's tied to the ability to disinherit. And then that disinherited heir becomes a possible pretender. And depending on the time frame, especially earlier time frames, that pretender should fire at some point. If you have, maybe your noble rebels will become a possible, like so if you have strong noble rebels, instead of firing as noble rebels, they'll fire as that pretender, but only if you have one in the bank, so to speak. That would be a cool little mechanic. It would suck, but there's a mechanic in CK2 that I hate, but I think could be amazing, and that is the pretender mechanic, and to an extension the adventurer mechanic. But I don't think they scale very well because, you know, late game CK2, you know, you've got 30,000 retinues and hundreds of thousands of levies, and then all of a sudden your younger brother who didn't have any land and doesn't have any friends, and you know, he all of a sudden shows up with like 200k troops. I'm like, first of all, where, like, the economy of the world at that time wouldn't be able to support the troops I had. We're just, you know, we're bending the truth there, and then you almost double it, or you sometimes do more than double it. No, that's not a thing. It could not happen. But you know, they're trying to make it hard to Blob. This is another thing they're trying to do to make it hard to Blob. I don't know. It's just, but that could be fun. Like, your vassals won't fight it or something like that. You've got to fight it, but it's scaled to your strength or something, like your direct strength. That could be interesting. I don't know. I'm not pretending to know how to balance it. I guess I'm doing what, well, I won't bring up that because that's political, but some people have the idea of it's not their job to put solutions forward when they're doing a complaint. It's their job to point out what's wrong. And to an extent, that's fine, but also to an extent, you're just whining if you're not trying to at least brainstorm some sort of solution when you're complaining about something. And I love Paradox games, so I would like to see them better, which is why I sometimes criticize them. But in the end, I also still love them, so I want, you know, just bitching about them is not accomplishing anything. I have to say, I had a question. I did a Q&A. It's probably today or yesterday. And one of the questions had to do with, like, what do you think is the most healthy... I'll look at the actual question and go to that for my answer because I'll just butcher it. But it got me thinking about the different PDX games and how I really think, while I don't agree with everything they do, they've gotten higher quality in the last few years. They've also gotten a little more nickeled and dimed. That's very fair. But, like, I started with Hoi 3 and didn't realize there were expansions for it for like 2 years. And they were already out. I didn't start early on the life cycle of Hoi 3. I started around the time of the... I can't remember if... was it for the Motherland or for the Fatherland? I can't even remember which one it was called. Or Semper Fi came earlier. Which one came earlier? But I remember I came around the time of the earlier one and then only learned about that one when the second one came out. That makes sense. The time frames that far back are hard. I don't remember. I didn't write all this crap down. I was just playing video games. But I remember it was buggy as heck. Like, you literally couldn't play past like 1940 without mods. Without mods that helped to simplify and help the AI a little bit. And even then, it was horrible. It's way too processor intensive, and it was just really buggy. And I loved it, and I loved some of the mods. But like I play most of my games, I love playing the regular game more than I love like I like to explore the mods. But if I'm gonna keep playing a game, it's got to be good on its own merit. That's just the way my brain works. But then you compare that, and then I found CK2, and then I found E4, both at least a year after they launched. I think it was a year after EU4 launched, or maybe like a couple months after EU4 launched. It was relatively young, and it intimidated me, so I didn't want to play it. But I eventually played it, and then loved it, and then stopped playing CK2 even after a while. When CK2 was like my first... Like, I liked Hoi 3. I loved CK2. I went from, you know, 500, 800 hours into Hoi 3 to like 1,200 hours into CK2, and now I have 3,300 hours into U4. So, I don't know. I feel like EU4... Actually, I feel like EU4 or Victoria would be like the best for my... like what I want to play. But Victoria 2 is just too old. It's too... It's... If I had played it when it was new, I might still be able to play it now. But just learning all those mechanics on a game that is never going to change or get any better, when I could play games that are changing and getting better, it's hard for me to... I don't want to say force myself to do that, but it's hard for me to motivate that's a better word. Motivate myself to do that. If they ever make a Victoria 3, you can damn well be sure I'll jump on it, but until they do... And I'm wondering, I forget who said this, but in one of my discussions on one of the Discords, where every once in a while when like a dev diary comes out and everybody starts talking about the future of EU4 and the future of Paradox games, one person suggested something of an amalgamation between EU and Victoria. And the immediate thing I did was shoot it down. Like, no, that couldn't work. Nobody plays the end game of EU4 already. And all they would do is have to put massive amounts of work into the end game that nobody plays. So I kind of still hold to that, but it's also a really interesting idea. 'Cause I think I mentioned it last episode. We were talking about EU4 and the possibility of another EU4. No, we were talking about 1.30 and the hegemony. I remember now. And the hegemony idea they have, the little mechanic that they're adding to later game. I don't know if it actually is just late game, but nobody will probably use it until late game. And I was thinking maybe they could have made that something more akin to the sphere of influence idea in Victoria. And whether that's a good idea or not, that could... Because I really feel like EU4 early game and EU4 late game are not... They're too similar. The mechanics are all the same, they just add modifiers. The adding of the ages was a big step towards what I'm envisioning here. And I saw somebody was doing a mod that does mods with more of those ages. And then, of course, 1.30 is now adding Age of Industrialism, I think they're calling it, which is cool. And it would be interesting. Like I say, I don't think they're going to do a Victoria. And I also don't think they would do a Victoria on the end of EU4. EU4 is already too long, basically, from a design standpoint. It just is, I think. Or at least relative to the other games. And, you know, to their credit, they're trying to make the end game more interesting and that kind of thing. But, and maybe they would, but I doubt it. Just if I, you know, gun to my head, do I think there would ever be a Victoria? I think there's more chance of there being a Victoria 3 than an Europa Universalis and a Victoria combination. But there could be something that, like, not that thing, but that there's a box we're thinking in. We're thinking in like okay, they do a PDX game based on this time frame, and then they move forward with it. And so when they couldn't come, you know, they didn't want to do Victoria 3, or they tried and didn't like it, or they're still working on it. Nobody knows. But that didn't come out, so they came out with their new idea, which is, you know, Imperator Rome. Go back before CK2. In fact, quite a ways before CK2. And then they're like, okay, well, let's go back to the first one that got really popular, which is CK2. CK2 was the first Paradox game that got really popular. They're doing CK3. Well, everybody assumes, okay, well, either they'll come up with a new time frame, or they'll go back to redoing EU or Victoria, or probably not Hoy or Stellaris yet. They're still in active development and getting a lot better from my point of view. I actually haven't played Stellaris recently, but I've heard from people that it's a lot better. I have played Hoy recently, and I know it's a lot better. But I don't know, maybe they could do a curveball. And I don't just mean like they're doing different type of games, because they are doing different types of games. They've bought or expanded into different development studios. They've incorporated people like the guys who made BattleTech. Hit the mic, so hopefully that wasn't too bad. But which I'm very interested in what those guys do. I'm kind of sad that they're not doing another BattleTech, but they're a good studio, so I will be interested in what they do. But I'm wondering if they're gonna just change the way they do things. Like, a very small part of me would like to see a grand strategy game that goes through all of these time frames, but it would need to go quicker. It would basically need to be, how could they do that? I don't know how they could do, because both CK2 and Imperator and EU4, they go daily, right? I think. Am I going nuts? Yeah, they go daily. And then of course Hoy is going hourly. Is it monthly? Maybe they could do monthly. I don't know. I don't know how they could ramp up, because there's a thing that a lot of people don't notice in, I don't know if they do this in the newer civs, But in Civ 4, which is the last one that I played, like, I think I had 2,000 hours in Civ 4. I used to love Civ games until I started playing Paradox games. And not to disparage Civ games, they're still awesome. Although to be fair, I did not like 5. They simplified it way too much. I tried playing it again after the DLCs, and it was a good bit better, but it kind of just soured me for the series. Same for 6. Like, I recognize that 6 was better than 5 for my playstyle, but I just couldn't get into it. But in Civ 4, and maybe they still do this, when you started a game, it was like 4000 BC, and the turns went, I forget if it's 10 years or 100 years or whatever it is. It's a larger time frame, and then as you get closer to year 0, it eventually, those time frames get smaller and smaller. And then eventually by the year 2000, your time frames are like, I forget what it goes down to, but it goes down to a year, and I think it goes down to 6 months, and it might even go lower than that. But the turns take the same amount of time for the player, but are supposed to envision smaller amounts of time in game, like what would be real world time, which is interesting, and they'd have to do something like that. But anyways, we'll talk about that kind of stuff maybe in the future. For now, I need to take a break because the video is running out. Let me know what you think. If you want to discuss these types of things or anything like that, head on to the Discord. We can blab about all kinds of stuff. I'm going to try to get more focused on the series and getting this series done within the next couple, like, week and a half. That would be that's my goal. Well, whether I get that or not, I don't know, but that's my goal. But anyways, leave me a like if you like what you see, and a subscribe if you want to help out the channel. Most importantly, though, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.